All right. So I called my friend Katie yesterday, who really, when I call her, I have no freaking idea what city or state she will be in, even though she officially lives in Hawaii. But she could really literally be anywhere. I called her a couple weeks ago. She was in Chicago. She was in Indiana. Where else have you been? Then she was in San Francisco to watch her son play.
I've been in California, up and down the state of California quite a bit last couple months.
Yeah. So um, I did want to say that what's coming up quickly. This is the third Friday of the month, and it's only the 15th. So that means, and there's going to be 5 Fridays, which means our next call won't be till the 6th of May, which is Mother's Day weekend. So that's going to be I think that's probably one of the best holidays out there. I really love Mother's Day. My wife is not a mom of any children, but she is the mom of our dog, and I still like to spoil the moms in my life on Mother's Day. So all of you that are moms, which is most of you here, I'm sending you lots of love for that. So all right. So I called Katie and I said, hey, um, I'm not really feeling all that inspired. And she said, I don't know what she said. It's probably not appropriate to repeat whatever it was.
Wasn't that bad?
So because you probably said, pull up your bootstraps, buddy, or
I asked if you had a coach, and you said I had like 4.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah. So she started asking me about, am I being coached? Meaning, why would you be not feeling inspired? So sometimes by the way, I take this call very seriously. Like I don't come to the call, even though I typically don't make a bunch of notes. If I know what I'm talking about and I don't feel like I've internalized it enough to be able to speak without having notes, then I will stop and write notes. But I know one thing that Katie's doing on a regular basis is coaching active agents in the business. I coach a Remax franchise in Hawaii that has a couple of offices and over 100 agents. And Katie does a lot of sales training for them, right, Katie?
Yep.
And then you've also done that for other companies, and there's all kinds of um, things that you can use that for, right? So that she's using it for. So I said, because here's the one thing that I know is that I was doing a coaching call. I also coach a Realty One Group franchise in Minnesota, and I speak to it's 2 franchises, and I speak to the whole company once a month on the second Wednesday. And man, talk about a mindset shift. It went from tons of enthusiasm to, oh my gosh, the interest rates are at 5%, and it's not going to be the same market, and just all kinds of things. And then it's like, okay, Rick, that's the problems. What do you got for us? And I'm like, I mean, on this for a moment, but it literally in the moment, right? And we were sort of the contextual foundation of our call was the 7 habits of highly effective people. And we went through those habits. So I'm definitely personally going to mention those today because it was pretty cool how the first 3 habits were so right on as it relates to what we would do to create a difference. Katrina, I just want to say welcome. I was just looked up and I saw the room you're in, and I'm like, I know that lady. That's Katrina. It's good to have you on the call. So thanks for joining us. So, oh, look at that. We got like Katrina. I think it's 12 where you are, right? You're on mute.
It's 11 o'clock here.
11, yeah. So big difference because where Katie is, it's 6 a.m. So big difference. So anyway, Katie, and then so I called Katie and I said, hey, what could we do? And she talked about something called free money. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. And then she said, let's talk about how do you make the phone ring? And so those were I go, oh my God, perfect. Let's go. Right. So Katie, start us off by talking about what you're hearing, in all the different people you talk to. And By the way, Katie has coached in the mortgage industry. She is coached in the technology side of the industry for both. And obviously she's coached real estate agents. She used to run Keller Williams offices. She did all kinds of things. So it's not like she's talking out of, she knows what she's talking about. So go ahead.
Most of the time I know what I'm talking about. So good morning, everybody. I don't think anybody's afternoon, are we? Is anybody on the East Coast? Maybe somebody. Okay. Good morning and have a blessed Good Friday to those of you that are honoring Good Friday today. I really appreciate, Rick, two things about you, Rick. One is that you're vulnerable enough to not only call me, but also tell this group that, hey, I'm just not inspired. And I think there's a lot of times that people think that, oh, coaches and high energy people like Rick are like, oh, they're always inspired. They like wake up in the morning and like, I'm inspired. And it's just how they do their whole day. And that's not always true. And I think it's great for Rick, for you to be so vulnerable with us and today. So thank you for that. It gives us all permission to be vulnerable on days where, struggling in the area that seems to be a strength for us. So that's the testament for all of us that it's good to reach out to our friends and our support group and say, hey, I'm not feeling inspired, but I could use some support and it'll maybe recharge my batteries. So I appreciate that for you to do that for all of us. I think it's just a very powerful situation right now that around what's happening, not only in the media, but the chatter among realtors and mortgage people. Yes, I do coach both. My expertise is the mortgage realtor partnerships, whether it's the one realtor with your one loan officer and how you work together as a partner, or to as big as a joint venture and things like that. So I work with both, and how you leverage tools and technology to help build the business. I believe in that great situation, 1 + 1 can equal 4, right? And I think all of us, I know when I was selling real estate, I had a mortgage loan, I had a loan officer that was my partner, and it was this amazing 1-2 punch with each other, and we really helped support each other and help grow our businesses. So the thing is that, all right, I'm going to ask this question. I don't know what the answer is. You never ask a question you don't know what the answer is. But I'm going to ask all of you that I can see your faces, and you can put it in the chat if your face is not available for me to see right now. How many of you think it might be nice to have a little baby recession? Right? Like, can we take a beat? Like, let's take a beat. Like, it's been mayhem, right? Like, let's have a little recession so everybody can just take a deep breath. And if you look at inflation rates over the last 50 years, the way to curb inflation is to have a recession. So that's happened over and over and over and over again. You can, if you are really, really bored and want to research the Fed for the last 50 years, you literally have nothing else to do. You got Barry Habib, who is a mortgage forecaster, he runs a company called MBS Highway. He's gotten the Crystal Ball Award 3 years in a row because he can literally see the future. It's kind of funny. I've gotten to know Barry over the last couple of years, and he did a whole talk around the Fed over the last 50 years. And one of the things that, yes, Rick.
He's Lebanese too.
He is Lebanese. Yes, he is. Do you know him, Rick?
We've never got to meet, but he's been told about me. And of course, I've been told about him a million times. So.
Of course.
We just keep crossing paths. So.
All right. I might be able to make an introduction for you. Let me see what I can do.
Right.
So I think it's that we need to understand this is what's happening, and this is a normal thing over the last 50 years. This happens all the time. And so this is where I talked to Rick about it's free money. I mean, I know, Rick, what were interest rates when you first started selling real estate? 1,000%?
Yeah, well, they were 9 in 1980. In 1981, they started creeping up. They jumped to 14 really quickly. And then I went out, I bought a condo with my mom and dad for myself, and our interest rate closed at 15%. And and then by a month after I closed it, interest rates were at 22.
Wow. Okay. So the sky is not falling. 5% is not the sky falling. And if you hear Rick, he still bought real estate at 15%. People still bought real estate at 15% and at 22%. Yeah. So here's what I want to say about free money. If right now inflation is at 8%, So what that means is if you have $1,000 sitting in the bank today, a year from now, that same $1,000 is worth $920. That's an 8%, right? That's what inflation means. The value of your money essentially drops 8% a year over year. Everybody get that? Right? Does that make sense to everybody? Like that's what inflation means, that your money becomes less valuable over time. Okay. And typically inflation is usually between 4 and 5%, right? It's not, so 8% is a big deal. Yes. Okay. Rates at 5 means that I can get $1,000 from somebody else and only have to pay $50 for it. So I can sit on my 1,000 and lose 80, or I can get 1,000 and only have to pay $50 for it. So it is literally free money. When interest rates are less than inflation, it is free money. Banks are giving away free money. Go get some. It is the best time to be in debt, particularly mortgage debt, ever. It's investing in yourself. It's investing in long-term retirement. It's investing in generational wealth, and it is cheaper than inflation, which makes it free. And this is also a great time to invest in yourself. It's a great time to invest in your own business and put information that will help you. If I say information, put the investment into your own business. This is where this is how you combat inflation, is you take the money that you have and invest it in yourself and invest it in things like real estate that are going to appreciate over time. I would say most of us on this call, our clients, ourselves, if we own property, have had a little bit of appreciation in our properties. Yes? Like a little or a lot? Like a lot. It's been crazy pants, right? So even with interest rates going up, there's still opportunities for loan officers to refinance and for people to get into a 15-year loan and pay off their house sooner and own their own home. The number one cost for retirees in retirement is housing. So why don't you not have a mortgage payment? Pay off your house. Maybe leverage some of that money to go buy an investment property, right? You guys, this is one of the greatest times, especially when interest rates were at 3. I remember my interest rate, the condo I bought here in Hawaii last August. My loan officer called me last July and he's like, hey, I think he's like, just want to let you know that rates went up a little bit. And I said to him, are they at 5? And he laughed and he's like, no, they went up to 2 3/4 or whatever it was. And I'm like, yeah, anything less than 5 is still free money because inflation was at 5.5. So now that interest rates are at 5 and inflation is at 8, it's still free money. And even if interest rates are at 8 and inflation is 8, it's still free money, right? You're getting to leverage that money to other things, right? So that's my free money rant, right? That's one of my many soapboxes, right, Rick?
Well, and thank you for saying that. But one of the guy that owned the franchise, whose company I was talking to, and this was just day before yesterday in the morning, I don't generally, if it's my turn to talk, I'm not big on people interrupting me because I get in a flow. But when it was, when I asked people to have an input, he raised his hand. He said, hey, it's Carla England just asked this question on the chat, which is why I'm bringing it up. And he said, look, there's a 10-1 arm at 2.99 or 3.1 or something. And he goes, why wouldn't you use that? What are the odds that you're not going to sell or refi in 10 years? And there's so much, because in the behavioral style, in the behavioral assessment, the S's are 70% of the public, just about. And if you look at I's and S's combined, that's 80% of the public right there. And the thought of not being 100% sure that this is going to be okay, but why not? I mean, why the heck not? So there's just all kinds of things. And we, as real estate agents, as Katie is saying, have to get positioned, because if we are doubting that we can still get behind someone that comes to us as a client, we have to be energetically and emotionally behind their decision to buy, or they're going to feel it, which means there's going to be objections. If they don't energetically feel that you're concerned about it, you're never going to get objections, because you're going, this is the best thing you could be doing. money is cheaper than inflation and blah, 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 blah. And what I told that group the other day, and I had somebody call me that heard me 15 years ago and is still using the same line, because she said, 15 years ago, Rick, you taught me that if someone says, how's the real estate market? You say one thing, unbelievable, right? And sure, inside your heart, you might say, it unbelievably sucks, or it unbelievably is amazing, but it's still unbelievable. But you got to get behind that and then be able to articulate why it's unbelievable. So between 2007 and 2010, when the market was literally plummeting downwards, and someone would say to me, why is the market unbelievable, Rick? Why do you say that? You seem crazy when you say that, considering what's in the news. Like literally, I had a person address me that way. Of course, he was a politician and full of himself. But I said, I'll tell you why. And I think I might have told this group this, but I said, it's unbelievable because right now, buyers have never had better options to buy in the best of neighborhoods for the least amount of money. Number two, if you're a seller and you want to sell your home and buy something bigger, this is the best market to do that in, the best. Not in a market where everything's going up. If you're selling your small home and buying, you're losing in the proposition. If you're selling a small home now and buying a bigger home, you're gaining in the proposition. So he looked at me and he goes, I guess you're always going to have an answer. Right? So, and that's the whole thing. That's what I get passionate about. And probably I'm starting to feel it right now, where I got the I'm uninspired when I called Katie yesterday, is because if the negativity is so much because I'm a coach and a person who gets called a lot, don't think I'm superhuman. I'm just human. So a lot of that gets to where all of a sudden I'm like, maybe I should just shut up and join them, right? No, I'm not letting that happen. But at least I'm firm in my commitment to knowing enough about my industry so that I can make a difference when I'm talking to a potential buyer or seller. All right.
I'm gonna go. Can I?
Yeah, jump in.
A tangent off that one.
Yeah.
So I have a different response to how's the market. And because I believe how's the market is, I believe no, I like it because it's energetic, because here, so two things. One, I like the energetic piece of it. And I like that. And I believe there are opportunities in every market. It's just, what is the opportunity for you? So like, that's the conversation. Like, there are opportunities in every market. Every market, there's an opportunity. We just got to find out what's the opportunity for you. The guy that I was talking to at the baseball game, like whatever. Yeah. So I believe how's the market, and for mortgage people, what are rates, is the international sign for book an appointment with me, because how's the market is a personal question.
Oh, say that again slower, because everybody needs to hear that. The international sign for book an appointment with you. Say it again, please.
So how's the market is the international sign for book an appointment with me. Nobody gives a crap about the market. No one ever. Is a lot of these people in the San Francisco Bay Area?
No, actually,
okay. So
Andy's in Southern California, MC's in Santa Cruz.
If you ask me what's the average temperature of the United States of America, who cares? That's like asking, how's the market is like asking me what's the average temperature of the United States. I don't know. Where are you going to be? Are you going to be in Boulder? Or are you going to be in Denver? Are you going to be in San Francisco in the summer? It could be 60 degrees. If you're going to be in LA in the summer, it could be 105. I can't answer your question. How's the market is a personal question, because nobody cares about the market. What they're asking about typically is their own home, or somebody that's really, really important to them. We got to sell great grandma's house because we got to move her to an assisted living facility, and we're figuring out the numbers of what we need to get that house for to pay. And oh my God, great grandma's lived in that house for 60 years. I can't even get my brain wrapped around all of the crap that we're going to have to go through, and the memories, and like they're paralyzed by decision making, right? That, hey, my daughter, my niece, my nephew just got married and they're thinking about buying. oh, how's the market for young people these days? All I see on the news is how scary it is out there, and I'm overwhelmed for them, and how can I help them? And it's personal. How's the market is personal. What are rates are personal, right? The answer, I believe, I use the thing is, right, Spokane, you had 3 inches of snow, right? From Spokane to Seattle, it's different for the weather, right? So it's, so my point on this is it's personal, right? So my answer to, Rick, why don't we role play? Ask me how's the market?
How's the market?
It depends, Rick. Are you buying or selling? Keep
Nice.
going. Answer
Okay,
me.
I'm actually contemplating buying.
You are awesome. Great for you. Are you buying to live in, or as an investment property?
It'll be a primary residence.
Oh, great. Hey, there's a lot going on. I'm sure you're seeing stuff in the news. The market has done all sorts of interesting things over the last year. Why don't we schedule a 20-minute call? Maybe we can meet for a cup of coffee. Can you come to my office tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock?
No, but we can maybe meet somewhere closer at a coffee shop.
Okay. Which coffee shop's your favorite, Rick?
The Starbucks on Civic Center.
Awesome. I'll see you there tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
All
Oh, what's your order? I'll get your order for you before you even get there.
Okay, I'll send it by text.
Okay, that's it.
Good. I like how that worked. That's good. So, and that opens up the mindset. So is my answer right or wrong, or Katie's answer right or wrong? No, it's whatever works for you and what you feel you can execute with confidence, period. I just love what Katie said. I'm probably going to repeat that 100 times in the next 2 months. Is that is the, what did you call it? The universal
International sign, like, a stop sign is an international sign, right? So
book
like,
an appointment with me. I love it. So, and I think my job from now on will be to find more and more international signs of reasons to book an appointment with me. So,
well, and even if you are in a casual conversation, and sometimes those how's the market questions are what people say it casually. Hey, good to see you. You bump into somebody you haven't seen in a while and they go, hey, how's the market? And you're in the grocery store and like, oh, it's unbelievable. There's so many opportunities. Hey, is it okay if I give you a call tomorrow? I'd like to talk to you more. So it may, in the grocery store, you might not get into that role play that Rick and I did. I mean, you could, but depends. And if you just don't feel, or you're in a rush or whatever, or not in the right mindset, just make a note to call them. Hey, it was great to see you in the grocery store yesterday. You asked me how's the market, and the market really depends on where. And then I know Rick and I've talked about this. I believe HomeBot is the greatest answer to how's the market for buyers or sellers. So if you have not taken a look at homebot.ai, please do. It answers how's the market 100%. And it does, and HomeBot makes the phone ring. So
yeah.
right. And Carla, great. They know you're a realtor, so they're going to ask the question, but dig a little deeper, right? It's personal. It's extremely personal. Yeah. And again, sometimes in the grocery store, it might not be appropriate to be talking about great grandma's house and the emotional aspects of that and all things. So my other point on that is people buy and sell real estate because of the time of their lives, not timing the market.
Yes. And that's why when people say, oh, I sold my house at the bottom of the market or at the top of the market, they didn't sell their house because what the market was doing for the most part. Now, if you are using the line that we talked about last week, when you said, are you in your forever home? And the line goes like this. If they say no, you say, oh my God, this market we're in is an anomaly and we've never seen anything like it before. We may never see anything like it again. This is the best time for you to just sell your home and get into your forever home. If you're not using that line, there's a lot of what Katie is talking about actually persists, meaning that what is your personal timing, what's going on with you. And I think it's vital that we start to reach in deeper, but that we have the answer that they're looking to hear, right? There was a movie called The American President with Michael J. Fox as the consultant to Michael Douglas, who was the president in office.
I love that movie.
And Richard Dreyfuss was the running against him while Michael Douglas was what they called the incumbent and in the office of president. And they walk into the office one day and Michael J. Fox says, "Sir, you really need to get on TV, do a press conference and rebut what this other candidate is saying." He goes, "No, I don't. I don't have to rebut what he's saying." He said, I am the current president. People will listen to what I say." And Michael J. Fox looked at him and said, "Sir, in the absence of someone leading the people, they'll listen to whoever steps up to the microphone." And I think of that movie probably 15 times a year because of that one line. And there was a lot of actually good lines in there. But the reason I say that is because your consumer who read the article online, who looked at Zillow, who told them this, and looked at Redfin, they're coming to you for a confident answer, not hedging. Okay. They're coming to us for that, like no hedging. You've
Right.
got to be able to say, "Oh my gosh, don't listen to that crap." You're being able to borrow money for free, essentially. It's under the inflation rate. Half the people believe it's 7 when it's closer to 8 or 9. Interest rates are 5%. You're winning by 2.5%. And oh, by the way, yeah, inventory starting to inch up. Perfect time for you to buy.
If Gina has her hand raised, is that Gina, do you have a question?
Oh,
Or
I didn't
by
see
mistake?
that. Where did you see that? Oh, Gina. Oh, you're not talking about my assistant, Gina.
No,
You're talking
not.
about yeah.
Oh, maybe it's not. I sometimes have clicked the hand raise button by mistake, so I just didn't know if it was a hand raise or not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that again, if we get into those how's the market questions and and the reason that happens is because I believe that how's the market is the international sign for book an appointment with me. It's staying on top of those how's the market questions. So Rick, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to go through a little process with you, and I think this may help how we're going to make the phone ring. Can I do a little process with you to talk about your team and your real estate business?
Okay. I'll
Ready?
hold my breath. Go ahead.
Got your helmet on? You ready? All right. How many transactions did you close in 2021?
79.
79 transactions. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How many real estate conversations did you have? Do you think you and your team had in 2021? How many times did people ask out? I mean, just in an average week, how many how's the market conversations, open house conversations, people asking you about individuals, new people on an average week? How many new conversations do you think
we have 10. I'm going to just do quick math. We have 10 people on the team, and maybe on average we had 15 to 20 conversations. So you're looking at least 150 to 200 conversations a week.
Okay, so let's call it 200 conversations a week. And how many weeks a year does your team work?
Well, not counting me, 50.
50. Okay, so 50 times 200, everybody, can we do that math? That's 10,000.
Right.
10,000 conversations, and you closed 80 of them.
Right.
What happened to the other 9,920 people?
Well, tons and tons and tons of them are on drips.
Okay.
Like thousands of them are.
All right, good. Do you think any of those people, any of those 9,000, we'll just call it 9,000 to make it less painful. Any of those 9,000, and you guys, you can do this for your own business, by the way, if you guys are playing at home, that go ahead and do this with your own numbers.
Yeah, I currently have a twitch in my right knee. And
I've done this. I can't tell you the number of times I've done this with people in a live room. It's pretty interesting. So 9,000 people. Do you think any of the 9,000 people who didn't buy real estate with you last year might have bought or sold with somebody else?
Oh, for sure.
What percentage?
Oh, probably 50.
50%.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that 4,500 people?
Yeah.
Bought or sold real estate with somebody else?
Right.
Okay. If you had been able to stay close in touch with those 4,500 people and really connect with them and stay close to them, what percentage of those people might have bought or sold with you and your team?
50.
So that's 2250. What's your average commission?
Our average commission is 18,000.
What's 18,000 times 2,000?
3.6 million.
Okay, that's your lost business.
Okay, so what? I was uninspired before. I'm supposed to be inspired now?
So my point is that we all do this, right?
Wow.
Right. So but when you make the numbers palpable, I mean, I have had people take me like, oh, there were only 2 people that would have bought or sold to somebody else. And I'm like, okay, what's 2 times your average commission, right? If it's 18,000, that's $36,000. That's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. So, and so the idea is, because we sometimes think of how's the market
Right.
as this kind of chit chat phrase versus thinking about if I talk to 10 people in a week, and if 10 people a week ask me how's the market, and if 25% of them actually have something going on that I could help them in the next year, yes, I will actually send out the formula to Rick. I call it the lost leads conversation. Like, these are lost leads. And so, because yes, the drip campaign is great, but it's different than keeping in touch. It's different than booking those appointments. But if you talk 10 people a week, ask you how's the market, and 2 of them may do something in the next year, right? How are we staying in touch with them? How are we making sure that we're following those timelines outside of a drip email? Because
No, because you don't. And Katie, you're absolutely right, because the number of people that are on my drip email, which 2 emails a month, who said, well, I never heard from you.
Right, because they didn't see it.
Yeah, not only, well, they didn't see it, or they don't call that hearing from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's opinion. And when you're been in the business as long as me, the majority of the people that want to hear from me like this.
Correct.
Right. So
call, text, instant message. I mean, there's so my point is that this is how we make the phone ring. You guys ready? Okay, write this down. The way you make the phone ring is by dialing it out first. If you guys are on average having 10 how's the market conversations a week, you've got 10 opportunities every week to make the phone ring by dialing it out first, calling those people, scheduling the appointments, going back. Like, again, we're 2 weeks into the second quarter. Any people you met at open houses from the beginning of the year, call them back. Open houses were mayhem a couple months ago, right? You may not have had the chance to really follow back up with these people, track them down, make sure that you're calling them on the appropriate amount of time. I think we all know the time frame. If somebody says we're going to do something in a year, it means 6 months. We cut it all in half. And then the time frame is, and then you base your calls based on their time frame. Hey, we're going to do something in the next 30 days. You're calling them every week, every day almost. If we're going to do something in the next quarter, you're calling them probably every 10 days or so. But the way you make the phone ring is by dialing it out first. Right? The calls are different. Most of us get texts. I mean, we talk about the handwritten notes, right? I mean, I was watching Brian Buffini at a convention in February, and he was laughing about handwritten notes, that everybody's like, oh my God, I've been talking about handwritten notes for 30 years. And he was laughing because he's like, guess what? They're even more impactful now. Right. And it's like, it's 3 lines in a card. Right. I mean, you do a phone call with somebody and you follow up with a handwritten note. So great to chat with you. Love that, Cheryl. She sends them out to friends just cause. Right. And those are referral sources. Look, it is our job to remind people that we're in real estate. It is not their job to remember. It is our job that they had a great conversation with us at an open house a month ago and we really connected, but it's our job to remind them. All right. So we are the vice president of sales. I mean, a lot of people, oh, I like real estate because I have a flexible schedule and I get to be my own boss. And I'm the CEO of my own company. Cool. You're also the vice president of sales. Right? At least once a week, the VP of sales meets with the CEO and the CEO says, how you doing, VP of sales? Do I need to fire you because you suck? No. They're going to say, no, I'm a rock star. I make my 10 calls a day. Now, the thing about how to make the phone ring, you have so many opportunities to call. The question I get all the time when I talk about how to make the phone ring is, well, I don't know who to call. And I actually did this in a live class. So I teach a class called How to Make the Phone Ring. The first 20 minutes is we do objection handling. what to say, like we talked about free money, are you in your dream home, like things like that, like whatever you feel most comfortable and confident discussing with people, great. Just to touch base, hey, just haven't talked to you in a while, just want to touch base. Hey, I'm your phantom realtor, I'm back. Right? I haven't, I'm so sorry, I haven't talked to you. The apology script, those are all great scripts. And then someone goes, okay, but who do I call? Like, I don't, maybe I don't use a CRM, or I don't have something an automated to help me. And I often tell people, start with the A's in your phone.
Yeah.
Like literally start alphabetically. I had an agent once that worked for me when I was running a real estate office, who she at once a quarter would print out her entire database. So Carla, I'll answer your question in a second, Carla. She would print out her database at the beginning of the quarter. She basically print out the names that were in her phone, print them out. So, and then put them in like a, I think she would even take it and get it bound, like at Office Depot for $5. You can go and get it bound. And she said if she would sit it on the front seat of her car. And every time she was at a red light, she'd look over at the next name and call the next name down on the list and make a check mark next to it. Because these people were names that were already in her phone. And then as she met new people, she would put them in her phone. And then at the beginning of the next quarter, she would print out the list again. And then she would, make any notes. But it was just that literally every red light. Like if you made a call every red light, how many calls a day would you make? Pretty, if you're very purposeful about that. This woman also had kids that played soccer. So she'd take her kids to soccer practice. And while she's sitting waiting for her kids to finish soccer practice, she made calls. Like, well, I'm sitting here in the shade and make my calls, and just wrote it down. And then when she got back that night, while her kids were doing their homework, she would do hers. And so her homework was to enter into her CRM the conversations that she'd had while sitting at the soccer game or soccer practice. But the idea is that we think people just remember that we're a realtor. Oh, my friends all know I'm in real estate. Well, do they? Your friends think about you as a friend. Like, I know I want my friends to think of me as a friend first, not Coach Katie all the time, because Coach Katie can be annoying, right? Like nobody wants Coach Katie 24/7. My daughter even calls me and says, I need my mom, not Coach Katie, for like the next 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, right? So I want my friends and my family to think of me first, me as a person, right? You want your friends and family to think of you and the relationship that they have more than what you do for a living. So you have to remind them that you have run a business and you need their help. That's actually one of my favorite scripts, by the way, is I need your help. Hey, I need your help talking to people that maybe, got outbid last year because of the craziness. Hey, we got a little bit more inventory now. Do you know anybody that got out, that was thinking about buying real estate, but got outbid and got exhausted?
That's a great script. And we should be using that more and more and more right now. So
it's a fun time to be a buyer now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw a bunch of questions come in. I think, let's see. Video messages are more powerful. Yes, I agree. Gina, thank you. Do I have a call script you would use for people in your database that you don't even remember how they ended up there? Yeah, totally. Look, it's hi. This is your phantom realtor. I am sorry that I haven't done a great job of staying in touch with you. I'd like to earn the right to be your realtor and somebody that you refer and friends and family. Can we, I'd like to do I'd like to schedule some time to talk about your real estate portfolio and what you may be looking for your real estate goals in the next 5 years. And you know what, if you leave that voicemail or a video text, if you call a couple times and you don't hear back from them, look, your relationship can't get any worse. You don't have one, right? If you don't remember who they are, they might not remember who you are. And so give it a shot. The worst happens is you hear nothing and you take them out of your phone. And that's okay too. Look, our job is to make friends and help our friends make good decisions. Don't overthink this job. You're there to help your friends make decisions, make really good decisions around the largest financial investment of their life. Most people, like most people in the United States, their largest financial asset is their home. So, I mean, tax day is Monday, guys. I don't call my CPA and say, you know, I've heard in the news about these tax codes, and let me tell you, like, this is freaking me out, and I don't think that I really should be filing my taxes right now. The CPA is like, no, shut up, right? Like, they guide us, right? And we need to guide people around the largest financial decision of their life, whether it's buying investment real estate, moving up, moving down, first-time home buyers, it doesn't matter. Anybody who is buying or selling real estate in this market is doing it for the first time, even if they own 10 properties.
Right.
It's a new world.
Right.
They said, I said, get your helmet on, be ready.
See, did you guys see what happened there? I just wound her up and let her go. Look at how much amazing information came out of that. Literally, I'm on my iPad taking pages of notes here from my friend Katie. So, all right.
I do have an off switch somewhere, but you know, it's going right now.
It's going to be yoga in a minute. So
That's true.
I put in the chat group a link. That link is a 5 or 6 page compact version of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is an entire book. But what I put there is just the actual habits. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about it really quickly, to sort of go back to what Katie is saying, is you guys can all see my screen now. Look what habit number 1 is. Be proactive. I am free to choose and I am responsible for my choices. This is, I have to be proactive. Like I'm reading a book that was written by Stephen Covey 33 years ago now, 1989, one of the most read business books in the history of business books. And everyone's saying the same thing. Just be proactive, not reactive, because when we're reactive, that's where Katie was reminding me that I lost 4,500 leads last year. Right? Now, habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. It's one of my favorites. It's about, what does this look like? Like, if I am proactive, what's it going to look like when I'm proactive for a long time? And that's the end of the movie, or that's where I want to end up. But I want to move to number 3, which is just perfect for this. Put first things first. What are you prioritizing? You know, what are going to be the things that you put first in the day? And so she talked about the red lights, right? I think that's a brilliant example. I schedule drive time in my computer, and when drive time is in my calendar, it's green. And if you can even ask Gina, my assistant, the label for that is drive and production time. So when I get in the car, I don't even not stop going until my headset is plugged in, right? My hands are on the wheel. The phone is mounted on a thing that it can be mounted on. And then I take usually a little sticky note, look right here in my left drawer, a yellow sticky note, so that before I get in the car, I'll usually grab my pen, write a few numbers that I really need to call, or people. I can tell Siri to call the number or the people. I don't even have to touch the phone, and then I can make those calls while I'm driving. And I have a pretty good memory, like better than most. So I'm always remembering who would be a good lead to call, who didn't I follow up with, things like that. So that goes back to, how am I prioritizing? Am I putting first things first? If I'm like, I know tonight is softball. If my sons aren't out at softball, I can miss it all day long and not give a damn. But when one of my sons is going to be at softball, it outweighs everything. So from 6:15 to 9 tonight, my phone will be in a softball bag on mute that I won't see or listen to or anything, because I'll be with my younger son playing softball, right? So put first things first. It doesn't mean you don't have time off. It means you have time off when your mind is clear, because you feel so good about yourself that you did your 10 calls or whatever that was supposed to be that day. So Katie, it's 9:46. Because it's Good Friday, I want to let everybody have like 10 minutes extra to themselves today. You got any last minute thoughts that you want to share with these people before they all?
You think I'm gonna have thoughts in less than 10 minutes? Seriously?
We've actually got 4.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'd like to spend the 4 minutes. Do we have any questions? I know I kind of rattled a lot of things off, and you got the brain vomit. So sorry about that. But you guys asked some questions in here. Were there any questions in the chat, Rick, that I missed, or Gina, did I miss?
Well, Gina, my assistant's no longer
Oh, she's
on.
not on anymore. Oh, okay, sorry.
I didn't see anything that you missed.
Okay.
Help friends make good decisions. Let's see.
Well, I think to Rick's point about start with the end in mind. Thank you, Gilbert. And that's part of it. We talk a lot. Rick and I both talk a lot about the why, right? I mean, I can tell you, hey, this is how you make the phone ring. But sometimes, and I've been there too. I was in corporate sales for 15 years. I used to cold call. I have been literally door knocking since I was 6 years old because I went to Catholic school. I have had literal doors slammed in my face. As a child as well as an adult, and sometimes like that prospecting time is like, oh, right? Like, especially like to Carla's point about like calling people, I'm not even sure who they are or why they're in my phone. And so beginning with the end in mind, a lot of time means for me is knowing your why. And maybe it's just for the year. Like I have a target of how much money I want to make this year because man, after all being cooped up for 2 years, I'm going to take my family on the most ridiculous vacation and just spend money like a crazy person. I'm going to Italy a week from today. Right. And that's was a big part of my goals and, for this year. And I'm doing it. And so yes, you call me in a week, Rick, I'll be in Italy. So, if you're like, where are you? So, but I think I used to, when I was in corporate sales, they would always have these President's Clubs trips. And I like to travel, so that worked for me. But I would have a little picture, like a little picture that I'd printed out of wherever the President's Club trip was going that year. Because I would get in my car at 4:30 in the afternoon and be like, I'm done. I'm going home. And it's like, well, I guess I still have 30 minutes. And yeah, where in the world? That's funny. And so I would take the time, that extra 30 minutes, and you know what I really want to do with that President's Club trip. So I'm gonna go knock on a few more doors. I'm going to make a few more calls. I'm going to do a little bit more because I really wanted that trip. So if it's for you, if it's, hey, I want to have X amount of money in the bank and that makes me feel safe and secure. If it's, hey, I want to have an amazing party for my sphere and past clients and it's going to be ridiculous. If it's, I'm going to plan the most fun, crazy trip with my family. If it's, I want to buy a triplex and have an investment property that I can have for my retirement down the road and have income for the next, for forever, for the rest of my life. Whatever that thing is for you, make it a picture. Our brain thinks in pictures. So have that picture either on your home screen on your phone, have it in your car. So those days where you're like, I don't feel like making the 10 calls, right? Take a second look at that picture and push through. And, so it's, what is it? The consistency of it is the logs in the locomotive. Keep it going. Nobody wants to have to restart the locomotive because it's cold. Keep feeding the flame and keep it moving forward and getting the train to your goal, whatever that goal is for you.
Good. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I really, really loved your enthusiasm behind it. I think everybody did. Would I be wrong, everybody? Yeah, everybody's saying awesome, good scripts, good dialogue, and a great session. So thank you, Katie, because a byproduct of all of this was I want to go out and kick some ass today. So I appreciate it very much. And I love you like a sister, and I'm glad you were able to make it today. So
all right, love you too. Thank you guys all for listening to my rants and for participating and engaging. That was great. That's the best part. I like to be interrupted, so I appreciate you guys jumping in. So thank you.
Okay, and yes, I love that Carla says she'll also re-listen to this on the recording. It might be a good one. I think this one and the last two before this one would all be good for that, because there was a lot of, Don Yoakum's one about 20 more deals a year using professional networking. And then we talked about taking listings in a low inventory market last time. And now we're talking about get off your ass and quit worrying about interest rates being at 5. So, all right, everybody have a wonderful Easter if you celebrate. If you don't celebrate, just have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you all on the other side. Okay. Remember, the next call isn't till May because this is the third Friday of the month. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.